Desire speaks every language. It doesn't care about labels or borders. It only cares about what makes your pulse quicken. In every corner of the world, there are faces that make silence feel dangerous, eyes that can unmake you with a glance, and smiles that promise more than they should. This year, 5 men turned attraction into an art form. Not through words, but through presence. Their beauty feels universal, their energy fluid, their confidence addictive. They don't ask for your attention, they make you surrender it. And when they look at you, you know exactly why. Because in 2025, being hot isn't about perfection. It's about power. It's about knowing what you do to people. So, where are you watching from tonight? Don't forget to subscribe. And let's dive into the kind of beauty that makes the whole world stop breathing. Michele Morrone is what happens when danger learns how to smile. His beauty isn't soft, it's sculpted, like marble carved to look alive. The kind of face that makes you forget what language you were speaking a second ago. He doesn't ask to be noticed. He enters a room, and the air adjusts. When 365 days dropped, the world called him a fantasy. But Michele isn't fiction. He's the reminder that temptation is real, that it breathes, walks, and sometimes sings in Italian. His voice alone feels like warm smoke, low, magnetic, wrapping itself around you before you can look away. What makes him so irresistible isn't just the body or the stare, it's the tension, the restraint, the quiet promise that he could destroy you gently if he wanted to. He carries that contradiction effortlessly, dominance that feels devotional, masculinity soaked in softness. He turns lust into something spiritual. Behind that image, there's mystery. He grew up between struggle and art, always balancing control with chaos. When he sings, it's confession. When he acts, it's worship. There's pain in his beauty, and that's what makes it addictive. You sense a man who has fallen before and learned how to make falling look divine. Fashion houses crave him because he doesn't just wear clothes, he inhabits them. Dior suits, half-buttoned shirts, bare wrists, every frame of him feels like a campaign for desire itself. Yet beneath the cinematic perfection, there's something almost vulnerable. His eyes don't seduce, they surrender. He knows exactly how powerful beauty can be, and he never rushes it. For queer audiences, Michele embodies a modern paradox, the hyper-masculine ideal redefined through emotion. He doesn't shy away from the gaze. He collaborates with it. He invites you in, holds it, stretches it until the line between fantasy and faith disappears. Watching him feels like a prayer you're not sure you should say out loud. His energy isn't aggressive, it's gravitational. He moves slowly, deliberately, as if aware that desire grows best in silence. In interviews, he's polite, grounded, unexpectedly shy, and somehow that makes him even more dangerous. Because you start to wonder, if this is him holding back, what happens when he stops? In 2025, Michele Morrone remains the international definition of too much and never enough. He's not just the Italian lover from a movie. He's a study in control, a living reminder that real seduction doesn't chase. It waits. It lingers. It lets you come closer until you forget who started it. Michele doesn't perform heat. He is heat, the quiet burn that turns curiosity into obsession. And when he finally looks at you, it's not a question. It's a statement. You wanted danger. Here it is. Danger. Louis Partridge doesn't try to be sexy, and that's what makes him dangerous. His beauty sneaks up on you. Soft, boyish, almost fragile at first glance, And yet beneath the delicate edges, there's something untamed. A quiet confidence that says, I know exactly what you see, and I'm not going to stop you. The world first met him as the charming sidekick in Enola Holmes, the kind of posh, proper English boy that mothers adore and Gen Z edits into slow-motion daydreams on TikTok. But as he's grown, Louis has become something else entirely. Not the gentleman, not the rebel, but that haunting middle ground where purity flirts with danger. He has the kind of face that belongs in oil paintings, and the kind of gaze that doesn't. His eyes are too knowing, too aware of what attention feels like. That balance, the tension between grace and temptation, is his secret weapon. He embodies the aesthetic of restraint. Crisp white shirts, messy curls, a stare that lingers just long enough to make you wonder what he's thinking. In 2025, Louis has quietly evolved into one of Britain's most magnetic young stars. Not because he's loud, but because he's watchable. The camera loves him. It drinks him in. Whether he's on screen or simply existing in still photography, there's a vulnerability that never asks for sympathy. He makes you feel like you've intruded on a private moment. He represents a new kind of masculinity, soft, intelligent, beautifully uncertain, the kind that makes you lean closer instead of looking away. He doesn't perform confidence, he embodies calm curiosity. He's proof that allure doesn't need to shout. Sometimes it just needs to breathe. Off-screen, his charm only deepens. He's humble, articulate, always slightly amused by the hysteria around him. But that humility hides something more dangerous: awareness. Louis knows the effect he has, and he knows how to weaponize it with silence. When he speaks, it's careful. When he pauses, it's electric. For queer audiences, Louis Partridge holds a special place. Not because of who he loves, but because of how he exists. He feels emotionally available in a way that breaks the rigid armor of traditional masculinity. His beauty doesn't intimidate, it invites. He blurs lines without declaring them, making space for softness to feel powerful again. His energy feels like first love, tender, clumsy, real, but with the tension of someone who's already learned how dangerous affection can be. Watching him feels like reading a secret diary, one sentence at a time, knowing you shouldn't, but turning the page anyway. Louis Partridge doesn't need to chase the spotlight. He is the light, the golden hour between innocence and desire, the kind that makes you nostalgic for something that never even happened. Because in the end, that's his spell. He doesn't ask you to want him. He just makes it impossible not to. Omar Rudberg is proof that confidence can be louder than any declaration. He doesn't need to tell you who he is. You feel it the second he walks in. He's all movement, rhythm, heat, the kind of energy that makes every camera want to chase him. Born in Venezuela and raised in Sweden, Omar carries two worlds inside him: the fire of Latin passion and the precision of Scandinavian cool. That duality defines his appeal. He's soft and sharp, playful and dangerous, a paradox you can dance to. He's not just beautiful, he's alive. When Young Royals premiered, the world met him as Simon, a boy whose vulnerability became revolution. It wasn't just the love story that captured hearts. It was Omar's emotional fluency. He doesn't act love, he breathes it, raw and restless, until it fills the room. He gave queerness a soundtrack, a pulse. On stage, he's a different kind of storm. Glitter, sweat, sweatshirts sliding off shoulders. He's all instinct and appetite. His performances blur lines between boy band fantasy and queer freedom. He moves like someone who refuses to apologize for taking up space. And that's the magic. Omar doesn't perform to be wanted. He performs because he is. His fashion choices follow the same rhythm. Lace shirts, painted nails, messy curls, low-slung pants. It's not rebellion for show. It's self-expression with conviction. Every outfit feels like a manifesto that says, you can be masculine, beautiful, and unafraid. He redefines what hot means for a generation raised on emotional honesty. Off stage, he's disarmingly genuine. Interviews reveal a softness behind the sparkle, gratitude, humility, and a grounded self-awareness rare in someone so young. He talks about music and identity with the same ease he sings about heartbreak, like both are languages he learned to survive. For queer audiences, Omar is more than a crush. He's representation that feels real. His sexuality, fluid and unapologetic, mirrors a truth that many still struggle to name. He's a reminder that desire doesn't need permission and visibility doesn't need perfection. When he smiles, it feels like liberation. There's something cinematic about his presence, a bright flame against the cold blue of Nordic minimalism. You can almost hear the film score swell behind him. Neon lights, city nights, a boy in motion who refuses to fade into the background. He's beauty in motion, chaos in control. In 2025, Omar Rudberg stands as the definition of modern allure. Global, fluid, impossible to categorize. He's not trying to be your fantasy. He's building his own. Because real heat doesn't come from muscle or mystery. It comes from owning your story so completely that it becomes art. And Omar? He's not just art. He's the moment the frame catches fire. Aron Piper doesn't flirt, he challenges. His beauty isn't polished, it's raw, carved out of smoke and pulse. When he looks at you, it feels less like attraction and more like confrontation. A dare to look back and see what happens next. Born in Germany, raised in Spain, Aron carries both discipline and danger. He's fluent in contradictions, actor and rapper, introvert and exhibitionist, mystery and confession. When Elite first aired, he didn't play a character. He became a mood, slow, heavy, and addictive. His screen presence was less performance, more gravity. Every frame whispered, "Don't get too close and try to anyway." He has the kind of masculinity that doesn't explain itself. Tattoos like poetry, cigarette in hand, the quiet confidence of someone who's already survived the fire. He doesn't need to tell you he's hot. He makes silence work for him. In 2025, Aron represents a generation that finds beauty in ruin. His allure isn't in the perfection of his face. It's in the way he wears chaos like a designer suit. He's both the wound and the cure. That's what makes people obsessed. He gives you danger you think you can control. And then smiles when you realize you can't. Off screen, he's just as enigmatic. One moment, he's dropping a Spanish trap track in a smoky club. The next, he's front row at Paris Fashion Week, staring dead into the camera like he owns the lens. He moves through the worlds of film, fashion, and music like a ghost who knows he's being chased. He's not running from fame. He's bending it to his rhythm. His fashion sense tells the whole story. Leather, silk, sweat, restraint. Every outfit looks like it was chosen halfway between sin and prayer. Aron's style isn't curated, it's instinctual. He dresses like he's already been forgiven. What makes him irresistible to queer audiences isn't just the look, it's the energy. He embodies fluidity without needing to label it. There's a softness in his rebellion, a vulnerability in the danger. Watching him feels like watching a storm build over calm water. You know it's going to break. You just don't know when. He once said in an interview, "I like when people can't tell who I am." And that's exactly his spell. He lets you project your fantasies onto him, then pulls them away right before you touch. He's not performing ambiguity. He is ambiguity. In 2025, Aron Piper stands as the perfect balance between dominance and detachment, a living reminder that attraction isn't always about warmth. Sometimes it's about the chill that follows. He doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard. He doesn't need to move fast to be chased. He's proof that the most powerful kind of heat is the one that stays just out of reach, because Aron doesn't give you himself, he gives you the aftermath. Hero Fiennes-Tiffin is the kind of man you can't stop watching, even when he's doing nothing. He doesn't need to move quickly or speak loudly. He just stands there, tall, composed, unreadable, and somehow the room feels smaller, the air a little heavier. His beauty isn't in the obvious. It's in the angles, the stillness, the control. He's the fantasy you never quite figure out, the one that keeps you coming back because you need to know what's underneath the calm. When After made him a global phenomenon, most people saw the bad boy archetype. But the truth is, Hero never really played chaos. He played control. Every glance, every pause, every clipped breath felt rehearsed, not out of vanity, but precision. He doesn't explode, he implodes, and that tension is addictive. In interviews, he's thoughtful, almost shy, polite to the point of mystery. But behind the manners is focus, discipline, calculation. You can feel that he's always aware of what's being seen, what's being hidden. It's that awareness that makes him magnetic. He's the kind of man who could stand completely still and still outshine everyone else in the frame. Fashion houses understand this. Dior, Ferragamo, Armani, they chase him not just for his face, but for what it withholds. Hero doesn't wear luxury to impress, he wears it like armor. Crisp suits, clean lines, no excess. The simplicity is almost dangerous. It's power expressed through silence. For queer audiences, he represents a very specific kind of fantasy. The beautiful man who gives nothing away. The mystery you long to decode. He's emotionally guarded yet physically present, gentle yet intimidating. You can't decide if you want to kiss him or study him. Maybe both. His masculinity feels cinematic, like it belongs to another era. Timeless, stoic, impossibly composed. But there's always that flicker in his eyes, the flash of uncertainty that betrays the calm. That's the moment people fall for him. The half second where the mask almost slips. In 2025, Hero Fiennes-Tiffin embodies a new kind of sex appeal. Not loud, not desperate, but disciplined. He's proof that you don't need to bear everything to be desired. Sometimes mystery is the loudest kind of heat. He carries desire the way a soldier carries a secret. Quietly, faithfully, like it's something sacred. You never see him chase it. He lets it come to him. And when it does, he doesn't react. He just watches, like he already knew it would. Hero Fiennes-Tiffin doesn't play lovers. He plays inevitability. He's the calm before something you know you won't survive. Because real seduction isn't performance, it's presence. And Hero has mastered the art of saying nothing and still being the only one you hear. Desire doesn't end when the video stops. It stays, a trace of heat, a name you whisper without meaning to. From quiet confidence to dangerous softness, from mystery to rebellion, these men remind us that attraction isn't about perfection. It's about energy, The pulse, the tension, the space between restraint and surrender. Because beauty fades, fame fades, but presence, that rare electric kind, leaves fingerprints. And maybe that's why we keep coming back, chasing the same feeling through different faces. The ache, the fascination, the quiet storm of wanting what we'll never fully understand. Tell me, who left you breathless tonight, and where are you watching from? Don't forget to subscribe, because next week we're turning up the heat again.